doing something.
Ever hear the old proverb? Opportunity arrives while Khajiit takes nap.
That doesn't even make any sense.
It does when Zaji's feet are tired.
Good to see you, friend, but something is wrong. While you and Lady Arabelle were off, we scoured Gonfalon Bay for signs of the Ascendant Order, and we found nothing. Not even one of their damn pamphlets. They're up to something. I know it. I knew it. That explains why we haven't been able to find any of their knights around Gonfalon Bay. The Ascendant Magus must have gathered all of his forces to participate in the attack. What do you need us to do? The best place to hide a vessel on that part of the island is Jury's Cove, north of the Navir docks. Let me guess. Nereid's Song is an Ascendant Order ship. You want to use it to slip past their fleet and rescue the Alliance leaders. Here, I'll mark the cove's location on your map. As for a crew, well, you're looking at your captain. As for the rest, I'll see who I can drum up.
One captain is good, but two is even better, yes?
Make that 3.
I can't ask you to join me in this.
You are not asking. Zaji is telling.
Looks like I've found a crew. Head to Jury's Cove, friend. We'll collect Lady Arabelle and meet you there.
Play a few rounds of trivia when I'm off duty. big mistake.
Oh, hello, dear. Captain Colleen was about to tell us her plan. Why don't you ask her how she wants to proceed?
The ship looks like the Ascendant Order's almost done loading the ship. If we want to seize the Nereid Song, it's now or never. Cut the mooring lines. Start with the dock on the left and deal with any knights that get in your way. While they're busy with you, the rest of us will go around to the right and board Nereid Song. We'll take care of the crew. Once you've cut all 3 mooring lines, climb aboard. We'll do the rest. And don't pull your punches with those Ascendant-ordered bastards. I lost a lot of good sailors when the Spearhead went down in their storm. Get ready, all of you. Once things begin, we'll need to move fast.
The attack's already begun. We'll have to fight our way into the castle. Lead the way, dear. Too. Our captains can hold the dock.
To the door! The Ascended Order is breaking in!
It's just us, Valencia. Stand down!
Oh, Lady Arabelle! The Order is attacking the castle!
Yes, dear, we saw. But where are the Alliance leaders? Friend, let's talk. I wanted to get the Alliance leaders safely behind the wards in Memorial Hall. Or perhaps even spirit them away on the ship. But I doubt we'd succeed at that trick a second time. You need to find the leaders and get them to Memorial Hall. Another relic of the All Flags Navy and the site of the peace talks. The Mages Guild casts protective wards around the hall to ensure the safety of the delegates. They should hold for a time. Take this medallion. You can't enter the hall without it. Defending the castle as best we can. We need to hold back the Ascended Order as long as possible until Lord Bakara arrives with help. If the Magus gets past us, you must protect the Alliance leaders. We'll buy you all the time we can. We need to protect the Alliance leaders. Where are they?
Scattered, I'm afraid. Queen Irene was with us, but there was a great rumble and screams from below. She ran to help.
Go, my dear. Make sure Queen Irene gets to Memorial Hall. Jakan, help me sort things out here. We must hold the castle until help arrives.
These beasts are the Order's Druid allies threaten everyone in the castle. They must not get by us. This shield can absorb the lightning so long as you hold it. Brace yourself. This shield can absorb the lightning so long as you hold it. Good. Now, release the energy back at them. The Ascended Order will tear this place down to get to us. We're sitting ducks in here. Ascendant Order ships in the loch, rogue knights and their druid allies inside the castle. They may have the numbers, but I say let them come. Together we will make them pay dearly for their victory. As glorious as a fight to the death would be, I suppose I should try to survive. My subjects need me. But the others went in search of their own battles. Prince Ernskar headed up to the battlements. Track him down while I clear a path to the hall. Find Ernskar, then look for Emmerich. He said something about dealing with the storm. We will gather at Memorial Hall, but understand this. I have no intention of hiding behind wards while others die to protect me. This queen fights her own battles.
I am your shield.
Give your Magicka a chance to recover!
Those stairs lead up to the battlements and Ernskar. I'll clear a path to the hall.
Ascendant Order rats just keep climbing up. Help me dispatch them. Ship reaches the dock will be overrun. We have to do something. I don't know how you got here, but I'm glad to see you. That ship approaching the pier is full of Ascendant Order reinforcements. We need to do something. Not while we're all that stands between victory and death. If I abandon the battlements now, we'll be caught like wolves in a trap. I need you to deal with the vermin scaling the walls, while I prepare the ballista to attack that approaching ship. Good. Then I can use this ballista to destroy that ship. Just get down to the dock, and keep these rats at bay long enough for me to smash those reinforcements out of the water. Then we can fall. He went down to the courtyard to deal with the Elder Tide druids. Can you believe they allied with the Ascendant Order? They're feeding this storm. You should help him, after you help me. All I need is a moment to clearly align the ballista. The door at the south end leads down to the dock. Keep them from scaling the walls, and I'll put this siege weapon to good use.
Zendar was with us in that fight.
These evil druids are
We'll
feeding
see
the
it
storm. Disrupt their ritual! That's better. Now it's a fair fight. Victory is ours, friend, but we shouldn't linger
Stow your
too
weapons,
long.
my friend.
Well fought, friend. If you're here, Lady Arabelle must be nearby. Now what does she have up her sleeve? If I've learned anything in my long association with Lady Arabelle, it's that she always has a plan in the works. Ah yes, the protected hall. I thought Lady Arabelle's arrangements were overly cautious. Events, however, reveal the wisdom of her actions. As much as I dislike hiding, we must deny our enemies an easy victory. Do you have an invitation medallion? Then we should make use of the defenses she prepared. I'm sure she plans to launch a counterattack, just like she did during Rance's siege of Wayrest. Why, never mind. A tale for another time. The door to the hall is on the south wall.
You talk to High King Emmerich so
More enemies
easily.
approach.
Have you ever
Quickly,
read some of his
into
writing?
the hall.
He's actually a
Use your
very
medallion.
talented
It's
author.
the only way past the wards.
How can I help? I'm at your service, of course. It's a pleasure to ride with you. I hope this is just early days in our tale. What would you ask of me?
As much as this galls us, this is the prudent course. The Ascendant Order can't breach.
You think yourselves safe? I will bring this castle down on top of you.
The wards are breached. To arms!
Hiding in your hole. This shall be your tomb.
We can't stay here. He's trying to topple the castle.
I've just about had it with this Ascendant Magus. To the courtyard. Friend, join me.
and we'll take the battlements.
The so-called leaders of the failed alliances, prepare to fall to the Ascendant Order! And the Ascendant Magus! You are formidable, but let's see how you handle this.
Hold on, friend. I've got something for that beast. All right, it's loaded. Show me what the target. I'll make it count.
He's conjuring something big. Ward yourself with my magic. Good. Now, release the enemy back at them.
Any battle we can walk away from. like everything story, your story grows in the telling.
Growing stronger. We have to stop him.
More beasts. I'll deal with them.
He's drawing in too much power, but you and Emmerich together can beat him. Help Emmerich with those creatures.
Keep the word!
Ascendant Lord will still triumph.
The Magus falls and his minions scatter. Cowards!
We cut down the Magus, but the Lord is still out there somewhere.
The Magus has fallen. We will deliver the same fate to his lord.
Our friend here made this victory possible.
Indeed. And they got us to work together. Amazing. Now let's go find Lady Arabelle.
There you are, dear. And with the Alliance leaders, too. I admit I feared all was lost, as more of those rogue knights pressed onto shore. Then the castle's siege weapons unloaded on their ships, and the dark storm suddenly abated. Tell me, what actually happened in Memorial Hall? I knew you were special the moment I saw you, my dear. The Ascendant Magus hoped to topple thrones, yet instead his threat brought the Alliance leaders together. And you showed them peace is worth fighting for. Take this with my deepest thanks. Nothing about this peace conference has gone as planned, but the Ascendant Order might have given us something we didn't have before. A reason for the Alliance leaders to cooperate. Can I ask one more favor of you, dear? Lord Bacaro needs to hear about our victory at All Flags. He can stop mustering a counterforce, at least for now. Thanks to you, Count Damar's plan to decapitate the alliances has failed. The leaders are safe and back to their usual bickering. I suspect Count Damar's defeat cost the Ascendant Order most of their strength. It will take time for them to recover, which gives us a chance to salvage the peace talks. Bring the news to Lord Bacaro, then meet me back at Mandrake Manor. Lord Bacaro should be at Steadfast Manor. Do hurry before he strikes off with an army of hired knights to join a battle that's already over. Besides, it's not often I get to send someone good news. While the conference site is repaired, I'll secure them in Gonfalon Bay. The captains in Koska can watch over the Royals and Valencia, and we'll have time to send for a new Fighters Guild delegate. I'm surprised this turned out as well as it did. That's a difficult question. I knew we had to try. Actually, I'm a bit embarrassed. Lord Bacaro trusted me to protect the conference, and I let him down. The Ascendant Order was one step ahead of me all along. I've never failed like this before. I didn't notice how powerful the Ascendant Order had become, and I should have sniffed out Count Damar's treachery. The clues were there. Wealth, grievances, arcane skill. Thanks to you, we salvaged the situation, and I can learn from my mistakes. Like Prince Ernskar, I had Captain Suso commandeer a siege engine. That sent a few of their ships to the bottom. Then when the shaking stopped and the storm clouds parted, the remaining vessels fled. After you defeated the Magus, I suppose. No, but I'm not surprised. He and the Steadfast don't have a standing army. I imagine he's still at his manor sending missives across High Isle in an attempt to recruit knights willing to aid us. Go tell him he can stop. The threat is over for now.
Surely we're done now. I could use a drink and a meal.
Must have been tough getting captured by convicts on Aminos.
Good point, Iran. But do remember, he's only a prince.
Raise a hand if you care what the High King thinks.
Thank you, Saji.
Zaji cares. Can we go home now?
Wrong royal, Zaji. We're with the Queen, remember? Now where did we leave that scow we stole?
What? Did no one tie up the ship before we ran into battle?
Lady Arabelle's associate. What news do you bring me? I've been sending messengers throughout the countryside, but so far I've only managed to gather a handful of knights. I was about to send them the order to head out when I saw you approaching. Does this mean you have news from Lady Arabelle? That's excellent. excellent news. My congratulations to you and Lady Arabelle. I'll still send the knights, but now their orders will be to shore up the castle's defenses, not rush into a war. But pray tell, where are the delegates now? Of course, All Flags Castle must be half in ruins after what I can only imagine was a fierce and costly battle. I'll get with Lady Arabelle, and we'll thank the delegates for their patience. I do believe another celebration is in order, though. Don't be modest, friend. From what I already know of your exploits, I can only imagine the heroics you demonstrated at All Flags Castle. Inform Lady Arabelle. We'll gather at Gonfalon Palace to celebrate your courage and the safety of the delegates. How often does someone get to save 3 realms in the same day? Your actions are an inspiration. I wonder, though, did the Ascendant Magus inadvertently help us by attacking the royals? We shall see. Go, tell Arabelle. She'll make the arrangements. Did they now? I can't wait to hear the entire story. I am surprised they didn't make use of the wards protecting Memorial Hall, though. We prepared the site to keep the delegates safe throughout the peace talks. Yes, I saw his power firsthand at Castle Navir. And Valencia explained that he somehow drew power from the volcanic vents that permeate the islands. A reckless use of magic, with little regard for consequences. Where did he learn that, I wonder? De Mar de Fort? Astonishing! I was certain the Magus was going to turn out to be one of the Monards. Tell me, what of this mysterious Ascendant Lord you encountered beneath Castle Navir? Did you learn anything about him? Cowards like that let others do the fighting for them. I imagine he's in hiding, fearing exposure and seeking a way to rebuild his forces. I suspect the Lord will remain in the shadows for now. Stay vigilant. Inform me if you learn anything more.
Welcome, my dear. What news do you bring from Steadfast Manor? Were you able to meet with Lord Baccaro, dear? What did he say when you told him about our victory? An excellent idea. Lord Baccaro knows it's vital to bring the delegates back to the table. After recent events, their faith in diplomacy might well be suspect. But a party, that's something they can all agree on. Can I impose on you again, dear? Tell the delegates Lord Bacaro dearly hopes they can attend a gathering at Gonfalon Palace. If anyone hesitates, use your charms to convince them to join us. Meanwhile, I'll throw something together. Meet me at Gonfalon Palace when you're done. Royals, no concern for their own safety. They each went off in search of a diversion. High King Emmerich to the temple, Queen Irene to stroll the harbor, and Prince Ernskar to the inn. I asked the Sisters' Guard to keep an eye on them, discreetly. Leave that to me, dear. I'll send Jakan to round up our 3 brave captains and put them to work. It'll be all hands on deck, as it were, but I think we can manage. You just make sure the Alliance leaders attend the party. These royals are a stubborn lot, or hadn't you noticed? I can never predict what they will do from one moment to the next. Remind them these peace talks are imperative. If that doesn't work, tell them the other 2 accepted your invitation. Sometimes a few untruths are required to grease the wheels of diplomacy. The royals will see right through the ruse, of course, but they'll play along. All they need is a reason to believe that this isn't a waste of their time.
I can't believe I'm here. Look at this place.
Perhaps this was not such a grand idea.
Hey! Over here! I need some help. I don't know which of the 8 divines sent you this way, but I'm glad to see you. The name's Bastion. Be on your guard, friend. I was accosted by a dark elf. She went into the cave hours ago, but she might return at any moment. The dark elf Tanare Vels. She's a traveler I met along the road. The cave is Deep Scorn Hollow. The entrance is over by the dock. I'm here to retrieve a fellow named Quistley Silvel. His family sent me to find him. I think he's in trouble. Untie me, please. The Silvels will pay well if you help me get Quistley out of whatever trouble he's in. And I could use someone to watch my back. Interested? Oh, and check the shack. I think Tanare dropped something during our struggle. Oh, thank you. Look around, would you? I'd like to examine whatever my attacker dropped.
Another find for your pack.
Did you find something? Here, let me have a look. A letter? I knew I saw something fall out of Tanare's satchel when she ambushed me. Why, this is a contract. Tanare Vels is bringing Quistley in to pay debts in Leowen. Damn it! I guess that explains why Tanare knocked me out and tied me up. Of course, that idiot Quistley would gamble away more than he had in his coin purse. He's done it before. Usually begs his parents for help, though. I ought to just let the Dark Elf have him, but it would be dishonorable. We better see if we can catch up to her. I'd like to leave her tied up and empty-handed when I drag Quistley out of here by his arrogant nose. Probably? Yes, I did. We were just idly talking on the road. It never occurred to me that someone else might be looking for that petulant brat. It's not the first time I've been asked to get Quistley out of trouble. I should try to hide it better, I suppose. We were raised together, more or less. Except he was the firstborn of a wealthy family, and I was the foundling they took in. Something which Quistley never quite let me forget. Well, it's the right thing to do. I mean, the Silvels gave me shelter, educated me alongside Quistley, even hired a tutor for me when I showed some magical aptitude. I owe them. And if looking out for Quistley is how I pay them back, so be it. No, not that I noticed. She said to keep an eye out for smugglers along the coast, and departed soon after. She likely just hung back and followed me the rest of the way. Foolish of me. I should have been more alert. All the time. House Silvel has interests in a dozen cities. I travel all over Tamriel, looking after their business. I'm a mage by training, but I spend my days dealing with contracts and cargoes. And chasing after Quistley. The Silvels fostered me from the time I was small, seeing to my education and giving me a place in their home. As I grew older, Lord Silvel employed me in the family business. What I want to do isn't important. I have an obligation. This is different for Quistley. He's not one for any sort of rough living, other than maybe going to gambling dens and taverns in the seedier parts of town. Probably? Yes, I did. We were just idly talking on the road. It never occurred to me that someone else might be looking for that petulant brat. It's not the first time I've been asked to get Quisley out of trouble. Maybe there's more to this place than meets the eye. First time I've had to look for Quisley in such a rustic location. Not his usual style.
I'm right here. Stay focused. Move your feet. Get moving.
How did Quisley stand it? This is definitely not a smuggling operation.
was it, right? Sometimes it's hard to tell.
Roots. It looks like there's another... Quisley really got himself into it this time. The idiot.
We'll see it done!
Look! They have captives!
Help! Somebody!
Keep your voice down. Those lunatics will hear you. Over here. Let me out before these cultists kill me. Keep your voice down. Those lunatics will hear you. Over here. Let me out before these cultists kill me.
Let me out too! There's a cult of Sithis in these caves! They sacrifice people! Thank you. We've been here for days. You should get out of here too, stranger. These people, the Unmakers, they're crazy. I think they're preparing to sacrifice people. Why would anyone want to do such a thing? I've met no one by that name, but that doesn't mean he isn't here somewhere. The only non-cultist I've seen in days was a dark elf who sneaked by a short time ago. She motioned for us to wait and left without a word. I should go. They're cultists, I think. They follow someone called the Daughter of Sithis, and they talk about sacrifices to the Unmaker. I was on the road to Gideon when they grabbed me. Can I go now?
Before we continue, let's talk a moment. Cultists? That explains some of the decoration in here. So much for the smuggler hypothesis. I didn't expect to have to fight through a nest of cultists to extract Quisley from this mess, but so be it. What's he gotten himself mixed up in now? What's there to know? They worship a god of death, darkness, and primordial chaos. Nothing good can come of that. Quisley's always getting into trouble, but it usually involves love or dice. He could be in real danger this time. Allowing Quisley to be dragged off to angry criminals is not much of an improvement. While Quisley might deserve it, I can't let Tenari Vales get him either. I want to try to grab one of these cultists and get some answers. It's a long story. Suffice it to say, I owe his family a great debt. Quisley and I were more or less raised together. The Sylvels count on me to watch out for him, or help him if he needs it.
Not the end of our tale.
like the ruin just sunk into the ground here. Let's corner one of these cultists. They might know what's happened to Quisley.
I'm not really with them. Don't hurt me!
You there! Stop!
You'd better not lay a finger on me. You have no idea who you're dealing with.
Xanathar, give me patience.
What is the meaning of this intrusion? Who are you people? What do you think you're doing here? I warn you, I am favored by the daughter of Sithis. She will avenge every injury you inflict on me. Quisley Sylvel? He belongs to Leleus now. She is the daughter of Sithis, and none dare defy her. Leave while you can. You're fools if you think you can save him from her. No! No! Quisley is Leleus' consort. You'll find them in the Vein of Scorn. I think the way there is back the way you came. Or maybe ahead. He's safe for now, though. They've got someone else to sacrifice today. Please. They caught a dark elf sneaking around. Even now, she faces the death of the Crystal Fangs in the ritual room just ahead. But Leleus isn't there. She and her brother are in the Vein below. Your Quisley is with them, I think.
I don't believe him. I think he knows more than he says he does. The daughter of Sithis? The Vein of Scorn? I don't believe it. Quisley's fallen in with death worshippers? Hardly. The only thing that interests Quisley is himself. Either these Sithis followers hid their true nature to lure him in, or he's so besotted with a woman that he doesn't realize he's in danger. Either way, I'd better get him out of here. I'm not sure I believe this sniveling cultist, but we shouldn't let anyone get sacrificed. Not even Tenare Vels. Let's split up. You keep going, in case he's telling the truth. I'll see if I can find out more about the daughter and the Fane.
Please, I'll tell you what. I know where a map of this place is. It's not far, just, don't hit me.
Helpful of you. What else can you tell me?
Any battle we can walk away from, eh?
Help! Break these crystals! Please, they're killing me!
Praise Vec.
Thank you, stranger. Let's talk somewhere safer. And that's the end of that tale. Those idiots were going to suck... Ugh, my skin still feels like I've got 1,000 tiny spiders biting me. That was horrible. Oh, and thank you. I don't know what someone like you was doing here, but I won't argue with Providence. Ah, the dutiful and not terribly clever mage. I'll bet he's angry with me. I took care not to inflict any permanent damage on him, and I fully intended to set him free just as soon as I finish here. It's business, not personal. Then you understand my predicament. I need Sylvel if I want Lars Tull off my back, but it's not worth getting myself killed over. Help me get out of here and I'll help you. I got a look at a map, so I think I know where you can find Sylvel. Not much. Lars Tull suspected that Quisley was hiding out in a smuggler's cave on the coast. I thought I'd have to check them all. Then I ran into your friend, Bastion. I knew there was something off about the smuggler story, though. It didn't fit. He must be in deep, if Lars Tull is willing to write off what I owe to get his claws on Quisley. Too bad for him, but it's a chance for me to get out of a bad situation. Lars Tull makes a good living from other people's mistakes. Or desperation. I borrowed gold against imagined winnings like every gambler ever. You ask a lot of questions. Not to be rude, but I'd really rather find Quisley and get out of here. These cultists already tried to sacrifice me once, after all. I found notes left behind by some unfortunate scholar. He'd apparently come here to make a survey of the ruins. I hope he had the good sense to retreat when he found fresh evidence of occult presence. More likely, he came to a bad end. I did. It's all the way down at the end of this maze, naturally. The scholar's notes hinted that it's an abandoned temple, once dedicated to Sithis. Well, probably not abandoned now. He must be in deep, if Lars Tull is willing to write off what I owe to get his claws on Quisley. Too bad for him. Good. I saw a rough map of this place before I got caught, so I think I know where to go. I'll keep out of your way if we run into more cultists. After that ritual, I'm in no condition for a fight. The cultists definitely go on and on about Sithis. Damn. A dead end and a vampire in a cage. This isn't terribly helpful. There's got to be a way through. I know what I saw on the map. Maybe the map showed a passage
You're not
that
part
isn't
of this
here?
cult, are you? In fact, you appear to be lost. Your dark elf friend watches me with no small amount of suspicion. Perfectly understandable, but I'm not a slave to my hunger. Why are you wandering around Deepscorn Hollow anyway? The daughter of Sithis is fond of sacrificing strangers. I have heard the name. The daughter of Sithis herself has him. These miserable Sithis pretenders. I can show you the passage you seek. I'll consider it payback for the way they locked me up. They hid the switch for a secret door under that crate over there by the wall. Clever, if one is a child. I cannot believe I thought these weak-minded fools might have a genuine insight into the dark mysteries of Sithis. Lalace is a noble from Leowen who made a game of dabbling in dark lore. As I understand it, she found this place and managed to wake a presence that had been sleeping here for ages. She surrendered to the darkness eagerly. I doubt that it cared. Fools and dilettantes bewitched by the daughter's powers. They believe she is the living embodiment of Sithis' dark will, servant of an ancient power. But the only power she serves is her own avarice and lust, like any greedy mortal.
Huh. Surprisingly helpful.
Give Lalace my regards when you see her. I would want the daughter of Sithis to know that I've been thinking of her. Wait. Would you do me a favor in return? Perhaps before you rush off, you might unlock this cell? A favor in return for my showing you the switch? Let me again assure you, I am in control of my urges. I shall not harm you. I came here hoping the temple held answers about my condition. But the cultists discovered me as I fed upon an unwary noble from Gideon. The daughter of Sithis was intrigued, but when she realized I had not yet mastered my powers, she locked me away. Yes, that would be an elegant solution to my predicament. I'm afraid that I'm rather new to this state of being. I haven't figured out that trick yet. I'm still capable of gratitude, stranger. I just want to be free of this place. I came here expecting something quite different. Thank you. Perhaps the friend you seek might still be alive.
I knew it. I never grow tired of being correct. This should take us right to the cult's hidden temple. Come on! Hold up a moment before we go on. I've been thinking. I stumbled headlong into a bad situation once already. I do try to learn from my mistakes. I've been thinking. There's a good chance we won't find Quisley Sylvel alive. Nothing good. I wouldn't go so far as to say that it comes down to bringing Quisly in, or taking his place, but it's close. I really need to be free of Lars Tull. I barely persuaded him to give me this chance. I won't get another one. This may sound ghoulish, but if Quisly is dead, I'd like his signet ring. It's big, gold, and set with rubies. If I bring it back to Lars Tull, it will show that I held up my end of our bargain, and he would take it in payment of my debt. Someone's coming!
Oh, there you are! I'm afraid I wasted my time on that cultist. He knew nothing. Glad I caught up to you. Oh, you put the fear of the gods into our captive cultist. He was sobbing on the floor when I gave up and left. I did meet a surprisingly talkative vampire, though. He told me which way you went. And seriously, do not turn your back on Tenare. Our weepy friend told me that Quisly's quite taken with this daughter of Sithis. Figures. My guess is he told her his family is wealthy, so she's keeping him alive for ransom. We'll probably find them in the shrine they call the Fane of Scorn. She seems like the sort who expects the worst. I remain optimistic. I don't always get along with Quisly, but I don't want him to end up sacrificed by the cult. Or turned into some crime boss's object lesson, for that matter. Not at the cost of his life. I'll figure out something. I always do. But just in case, warn Tenare that she'd better not try anything foolish when we get Quisly. She caught me off guard once. It won't happen again. You're not even going to apologize, are you?
I'm sorry?
Just keep your distance from Quisly. He's my responsibility.
Quisly! I'm no use in a fight right now. I'll keep back.
Go away!
Arise, my brother. Kill these trespassers.
I'll just... Oh dear. I'll get out of the way!
Quisly before he runs off again. The little bastard.
How dare you? Lalace would never have hurt me. She said so.
She murders people, you idiot! You were probably next!
I'm not talking to you, Bastion. Nor to that rude dark elf that just laughed at me. You spoiled everything! You and that lumbering oaf my father insists on sending to make my life miserable, and whoever that dark elf is, barging in and ruining my life. Who do you people think you are? Well, that's just your opinion. Everybody here treated me as a guest of honor. And Lalace, the daughter of Sithis, chose me to be her consort. She told me that she'd give me the kiss of Sithis soon. Why would you ruin this for me? I can't believe they sent Bastion after me again. They treat me as if I were a wayward child. I am perfectly capable of managing my own affairs. I refuse to go. Claim me. I am not some sack of flour to be bargained over. Oh, very well. Bastion works for me, indirectly. I'll go with him. I can write a promissory note for the Dark Elf to deliver to her thug of a boss. He's a terrible person.
Bastion doesn't seem very fond of Quisly. I can't imagine why. We compared notes while you were talking with that simpering idiot. Bastion said he might have an idea that would solve things for both of us. Years ago, I lost everything trying to get my brother out of a fishy trading scheme. Lars Tull offered to help me. I'm still paying for it. It would be grand to be done with Lars Tull and to pull one over him at the same time. If Bastion's willing to work with me, and perhaps forget about the knocked out and tied up business, I think we might have room for a compromise.
Once we get Quisly out of here, I'm done. I've paid my debt to his family 3 times over. All right. I think I know how to sort this out. If Tanare is prepared to listen, that is, I'm willing to overlook the knock on the head to settle this. First, we need to get Quisly out of Blackwood. Tanare doesn't have anything personal against him. Well, no more than anyone else who meets him. But the criminals she'd bring Quisly to might kill him. I'll threaten to tell his parents about this whole affair unless he cooperates and goes straight back to Daggerfall. Quisly knows that Lord Sylvel can cut him off. It's the only threat that actually scares him. He would have to earn a living. I think we can all walk away from this. We ship Quisly home, secretly. Then we make sure that Tanare has something she can take back to Lars Tull. Thank you, friend. I think Lord Sylvel would agree that you've earned your payment. What do you think, Tanare? Are you willing to give it a try?
I'll need to bring Lars Tull proof of Quisly's demise.
What kind of proof would you need?
I'm clearly not dead!
If I bring Quisly's signet ring to Lars Tull, he'll believe me.
That's what I was thinking. I'll tell the Sylvels that Quisly sold the ring to pay his debt.
I'm right here!
That ring should work. It might even cover most of Quisly's debt.
What? My ring? I'm not giving you a damn thing! Bastion, keep that woman away from me! Ha!
Here you go. I'll make sure Quisly understands to stay away from Blackwood.
Thank you. This should clear my account with Lars Tull. And perhaps clear yours with this ingrate and his family too.
We should leave this place. I'll see Quisley on his way when he comes around. Let's go find someone to help. Let's hit the trail.
Of these useless lay-in layabouts? Oh, no, you're an adventurer like me. Don't tell me, Zagira roped you into this mess too. My little brother and I answered a job posting seeking adventurers to help explore a newly discovered ruin, only once the expedition got underway and we were all split up, our employers turned on us. I barely got away. Free my little brother and the others before something terrible befalls them? I don't know if I can do this on my own, but I have to try. Can I count on your help? Or were all the questions just morbid curiosity? I can pay if I have to. There were 5, in addition to me, who got duped into this. My brother, Liam, Iolaf, a Nord warrior, Ardia, a High Elf researcher, Dijos, an Argonian scout, and Garlor, a Wood Elf adventurer. Other than my brother, I don't know a lot about them. Not much. Zagira, the woman who hired us, was charming. I didn't buy a story that her expedition was for study, but she paid half our fee up front. I figured they were just treasure hunters looking for plunder. We had no idea they were a cult. About the time they said, "Don't kill her, we need her for the ritual," while trying to wrestle me to the ground. Probably saved my life, though. I fought twice as hard knowing they were taking it easy on me. No one else escaped that I know of. We didn't get far with our expedition before things went sour, but the ruin was in pretty bad shape. You'll need a grapple bow to get anywhere quickly. Fortunately, I have a spare. They're simple enough to use if you've never tried one. Just line up your sights with a suitable anchor point, release the bolt, and get ready to fly. Don't worry, they're pretty much designed to do all the work. The worst you'll have to worry about is underestimating the pull and spraining your neck. All right, but remember, you already agreed to help me. It'd be rude to back out now. But seriously, I need your help. Please don't change your mind. It's Daedric, in origin. Our employer claimed it was recently uncovered, but I have a hard time believing no one noticed until now. And despite its condition, it doesn't seem that old. Barely any overgrowth at all. None of it makes any sense. 100 years old at most. I couldn't tell you who built it, or how it came to be demolished, though. I didn't get much time to study it before those fetching cultists tried to throw a sack over my head and drag me off. We need to reach the base camp, but be careful. I saw a lot more cultists during my escape than the ones who led me here.
Always ready to help. Whetstones that sharpen the metal, allow it to keep its edge. Courage brings victory. The day will be ours! That was easy. over with, I suppose.
That's not our sky. It wasn't like this before. We should hurry. The bridge is out, but that support looks sturdy enough for the grapple bow. The base camp should be... Iolaf! What are those fetchers doing to him? That's Iolaf. One of the other adventurers Zagira duped with this setup. They've got him strung up like a new life pony guar. Survey stones my ashy arse. That's a sacrifice if I've ever seen one. We've got to do something. Zagira had us escorting her scholars around the area to place those so-called survey stones. Supposedly, they would get the layout of this place in an instant. Bunch of guar dung, clearly. It's sucking the life out of him. I damn well plan to try. It'll be dangerous, though. For Iolaf, most of all. That ritual is already feeding off of him somehow. The sudden shock of destroying the stone might kill him. We could try weakening the ritual before ending it entirely. That array by Iolaf seems to be the heart of the ritual, but the magic is being drawn to another focal point nearby. Destroying that might lighten the load on Iolaf, and the backlash of ending the ritual by force. It's the best chance of saving him. We need to stop that ritual, the sooner the better, but Iolaf's chances of surviving go up exponentially if we try picking it apart carefully, instead of smashing the central array right at the start. The grapple bow should help us search around. I don't know it. I'm making an educated guess. Daedrology is my main field of study, though I tend to avoid getting caught up in their worship and rituals. Mostly, I'm fascinated why anyone would join these fetching cults in the first place. I took an interest in the anticipations of the Tribunal and my ancestors' worship of them before the three rose to godhood. Dark elves aren't the only ones who revere Daedra alongside divines, but now's not the time for a philosophical discussion.
Endure, Nord. The foothold is nearly complete.
That voice! Zagira! That did it! The ritual's weakened!
You don't have to tell me twice.
It worked! Sorry if that sounds too much like surprise, but I couldn't be sure if that would be enough to save Iolaf's life until we tried it. If the cult is doing this to the others, we should be able to free them too, if we're careful. It was definitely a Daedric ritual, but not your typical sacrifice. Offerings to the princes are usually quick and brutal. This was much more purposeful. I don't know what they were trying to accomplish, but they were using Iolaf's soul to power it. The Swits didn't tell us much of their plans before stabbing us in the back, but I've got a rough idea where they were taking the other stones. If we head out the other side of these corridors, we should be on the right path.
That was horrible. I felt like my soul was getting torn out of me, little by little. Trying to pitch me into Orky's gnarled teeth. Or Dagon's, rather. Felt like all the air was sucked out of my lungs. Would have killed me if you hadn't come along. Was it always this hot in here? I'm just hired muscle. I don't meddle with magic. They were talking, though, about positioning the other stones. They sent each of us as an escort, split us up. If they got the better of me, I'm sure the others are in just as much trouble now. Haven't felt this bad since I nearly drowned in the sea of ghosts. But I can feel my strength coming back. I think I'll be good enough to move once I've caught my breath. I'll be fine. Help the others while there's still time.
Oblivion take you!
That's the last of them.
Hold on. I recognize that journal. It belonged to Ardia. Well, I'll be. Ardia actually made a break for it. She's the last one I'd have expected to escape. 2 left feet, that one. Much as I'd like to believe she made it out, somehow I doubt it. Honestly, I'm impressed she made it this far, but my gut tells me she's still here. I think we should keep looking for the rest of those sacrificial stones. Whoever's still bound up in the cult's rituals is in the greatest danger. It's getting to the point that I hardly recognize this place. It's like the sky is on fire and everything's scorched. Did the cult come here just to destroy this place? That hardly makes any sense, but Daedra worship too often doesn't. It's possible this is all just a side effect of the ritual, not its intent. Who knows? Maybe their magic isn't just feeding on the souls of those they've captured, but everything here. All the more reason to stop them, quickly. Lava? And look, those trees! The shifting is more drastic here.
No remorse! Heroes don't give up. They get up.
Looks like they caught Ardia after all. We need to free her. We need to free Ardia from that ritual before it drains her soul completely, even if it kills her. Still, we should look for focal crystals nearby that are drawing power from her. Destroying them is the only way to save her life and her soul. I mean, stopping the ritual prematurely might kill her, but there are fates worse than death. If her soul is drained entirely from her body, it won't be left to the mercy of the Divines. It'll probably wind up in the clutches of oblivion.
Come and take us!
I look forward to reuniting you with your brother.
I hope you find peace, at least. Let's get out of here. Damn it, Ardia. If only you'd managed to escape. At least we were able to end the ritual before it consumed her soul. May she rest with her kind. I can't be certain, but Dijo, Scarlor, and my little brother Liam are still missing. We have to assume they've been captured and bound like the other two. We need to stop these rituals, and not just for their sakes. I have a theory about the purpose of these rituals. The changes to the land, the sky, the blasted heat. I think this place is being overtaken by another plane. If I had to guess, I'd say it's becoming the Deadlands. I think this ruin isn't actually part of Nirn. More like a piece of our world bottled up, and the cult is trying to fill the bottle from another source. Over here! Garlor? Oh, fetching Vec! He's gone. Soul-shriven. I've read accounts of this happening, but I've never seen it myself. This ravaged body is all that's left of Garlor. His soul, gone somewhere far worse. This is what will happen to the others. To my little brother. Right. You're right. This isn't the time to lose it. There's still hope for the others. Garlor couldn't have wandered far like this. There must be another ritual site nearby. Let's go.
Victory is cruel. Defeat is worse.
is it! And they've got Dijos!
For glory!
Keep meddling.
Helped. There's still something drawing power from the ritual. Let's keep looking. Your trees, Dijos. We need to keep moving. Dijos and I were not close. Truth told, I think she merely tolerated me and my brother. Not that I can blame her. I hope she finds some rest with her trees. Liam, hang in there, little brother. We'll find you. We seem to be getting close to the heart of the cult's plot. Other than the ruins, the terrain here is unrecognizable from where we came from. I'd wager that's where we'll find him. And Zagira. No. I don't care about that hooded viper. I just want my little brother back. But if she stands in our way, I'll gladly kick her fetching ass back to oblivion. Come on. Liam needs me.
To arms! That's got it!
Zagira! Give Liam back, and maybe I won't fetch and kill you!
Allow me to reward you for hampering our progress. You you may listen to your brother's muffled screams, unmolested, as you stand helpless before this gateway.
Damn it! She sealed the gate! We need to remove that barrier! That switch might have something to do with it. That switch locked us out! We aren't getting that gate open by force, but I bet that mechanism plays some part in getting it open. I think that mechanism must be connected to the gate, but that can't be the only thing stopping us, or Zagira wouldn't be so confident. We should look around. There might be more of these Daedric objects involved in the barrier.
Sheath your weapons. The battle is won. Did it! The gate's unsealed! Let's find Liam. Zagira, if you think a little lava is going to stop me, you've got another thing coming. This is it! We're going to save Liam and stop Zagira's plot here and now. Let's find the ritual's focal points and weaken it so we can set him free. I don't know. He's my little brother. I have to try. If it comes to it. End the ritual prematurely. I'd rather send Liam into the arms of Mother Morrowind than let Oblivion have him. Just try. Please. Taste our steel!
You can't stop it.
justice, little brother. You can inform your worthless legates that we stopped the cultists. No thanks to you.
Just be grateful your little dispute didn't land you afoul of the law. Cease your meddlesome trespassing while you're ahead, and get a real job.
Damn Sagira! Damn her fetching soul to the blackest pits of oblivion! I hope Dagon rakes her over hot coals for eternity for failing to accomplish whatever it was she was trying to do here. It's my only consolation. There's nothing left to be done than pay my respects to the tribunal, and pray Liam can rest in our family tomb. I couldn't save my little brother, but you helped me try when no one else would. If you ever need anything, you need only ask.
Practice makes the master.